guys, welcome back to another Disney Pixar Connection video. Whew, it is Sunday the 14th. My goodness, we got so much going on this upcoming week. I gotta get planning some more. I mean, I have a general plan, but we got some stuff going on. Alright, so Disney Plus Day was Friday. I've been posting content from it. Now, this particular video was, I will be quite honest, supposed to be done prior to Disney Plus Day. But I didn't feel like it was right to do Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings until I did this video. Okay, so that will be coming later today. I absolutely promise that will be coming today. But first, we're gonna do Black Widow, Easter eggs, and all that. So if you don't know what's going on, Black Widow was released back in July. Originally, it was released in movie theaters, and then they were supposed to have 45 days, and then it was going to be released to Disney Plus for access. Now, Disney screwed up. They broke contract with Scarlett Johansson, who plays Black Widow. There was a lawsuit going on. They did actually settle. Now, I don't know if Scarlett Johansson will be returning to work with Disney. I'm just going to say this now, that this is not the first time Disney has done something like this. Now, not due to a pandemic, because we are in one, but prior, back in the 1990s, they screwed Robin Williams up for Aladdin, during Aladdin and then Aladdin 3, the Aladdin the King of Thieves. The reason he wasn't in Aladdin 2, Return of Jafar, was because they screwed him over for Aladdin. I know. Like, how could they? Now, he did make a return. He was still upset. Very much understandably. But he did make a return for the third one. So, yes, he didn't play Genie in the second one. I don't know what to tell you. They actually didn't really have Genie in the second one for that reason. Yeah, they didn't want to recast him. Which is, again, another understandable moment because Robin Williams was the best. I miss him dearly. That being said, Black Widow came out. I did my review back in July, so you can go find that in a review playlist. But I still want to make a warning for those kids that are probably going to watch this. If you're young and you haven't had these conversations with your parents, please go ahead and do so. If you're a parent and you're watching this with your kid, you may want to fast forward. I'm not going to mention the great details because of the Easter eggs are not in there, but there were conversations that were maybe not inappropriate. They were probably inappropriate, I mean, uncomfortably for young children. And it talks about the reproductive system. There was nothing shown visibly, but they do talk about it. Okay. That being said, the cliffhanger, actually, you know what? We're not going to get to the cliffhanger now because I got to talk about this. Hawkeye is coming out soon, like next week. So we're going to cover it, which is why I need to get to Shang-Chi first. Shang-Chi. Wow, I'm screwing that name up. Shang-Chi first. Because the cliffhanger from this is, I feel like, a setup for Hawkeye. But let's just get into it. This has been a long enough intro. Let's go. Black Widow. Now, this film does start out in 1995 in Ohio. We know that at this point, Yelena and Natasha were taken from their families. They were trained and they were now with their spy parents, I don't even know what to call them, their makeshift parents. And we know that Natasha's around 10 or 12 years old at this point. The girls were then taken to Cuba, and as you can see, there's a huge difference in the water from the Pacific to the Atlantic, which I find interesting, not really related to what we're talking about per se, but they were taken to Cuba and then they were handed off to the Russians to do more training. Now, during this training, and in one previous part, the kids, the girls specifically that become the Black Widows, are being ingrained with pop culture. And some of those things from those pop culture are actually episodes from the DuckTales. Anyway, the film skips forward 21 years, so they're now in present day-ish, a few years behind. And Natasha ends up going to Norway because she was attacked. And during this time, I thought at first that this particular trailer was where Thor was. Now, there is mention of the Black Panther, of Captain America, of Thor, and several other Marvel Avengers. But then she was attacked. This is when she thought she got a message from her sister, Yelena. A lot of action happens. Okay, just a lot of action. I'm not going to tell you everything that happens. Please go watch the film. Anyway, so Natasha, I almost said Scarlett. Natasha is watching James Bond during that scene before she ends up finding her sister. Things happen at the very end. And then the very end, the end before the credits roll, Natasha is about to be arrested for being an Avenger, which is around the time of, like, you guys know what happened. Like, if you've been following the timeline, I just got to explain this in the timeline video. There's just a lot of explanation that I don't want to explain here. So yeah, she's about to be arrested. Then the credits roll. And then, of course, if you guys know Marvel, there's always an after credit scene. Now, this after credit scene takes place approximately 2 weeks after her arrest. And this is when Yelena went to go visit her grave, Natasha's grave. We know she's dead from the Endgame, Infinity War and Endgame films. So that's happened at this point. And Yelena is approached by, I cannot think of her name. If you know her name, put it down below. Should go assassinate her killer, who is Clint Barton. Now, we know as an audience what happened between Clint and Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, because we got to see it during Infinity War and Endgames. But they assumed that he just killed her. They don't know that she actually sacrificed herself. That cliffhanger, right? That cliffhanger. So, as you saw from the last one, they were about to go after Clint Barton, who plays Hawkeye. Now, I actually have not watched the trailer for Hawkeye yet. I will be quite honest. I know that they were filming I want to say it was last November, December. If I remember correctly, I had friends in New York City who happened to stumble upon their filming location. They were in Times Square, actually. So it's not like, oh, well, I just walked onto set. Like, they just happened to catch it. Funny story about that. But I know that they were filming in New York City, so we knew it was happening. We've kind of known that this was going to happen. I think it was Hawkeye and Sam Wilson, who is the new Captain America. You know, which I promise I'll get to those Easter eggs. Like I said, I have a whole setup for the end of this month and next month, but I may add in some extras. So please stay tuned and like and subscribe because you're going to want to see these Easter eggs. All right, that being said, we knew something was coming. That was one of the things. Now, I did mention that Pixar and Marvel have announced some major projects. Marvel has 15 minutes worth. They have a whole little like mini documentary style release for Disney Plus Day about what the new releases will be. I will do a whole separate video on that because there's just so much. There is so much and I want to do it properly. So that'll probably come out the end of this week. I know it's a little late compared to what we've just been talking about, but I really want to give it proper editing, and with a new computer, because I'm getting that this week, hopefully it should be on its way. I'll have better editing and better background and all that jazz. So yay, we're gonna have a huge upgrade for the video editing. Wow, guys, it's been quite a weekend. All right, so what are your thoughts and opinions? I would love to hear what you have thoughts down below. Do you think Scarlett Johansson, aka Black Widow, will make a return? Because we know that they tend to release these films out of order. I know that sounds weird because there's 4 different phases. Again, I'm going to talk about this in the Marvel. I'll do a whole Marvel timeline and release date video, like I said, but they do tend to do things sometimes out of order. So this particular film was set in between certain timeline, in a certain timeline, which makes it even more interesting because we know at the very end, so it skips forward, right? We know that Black Widow is dead at that point. But if they're going back in time, will she be there? Will she ever make a return? I don't know. I would also really like to see a second film, but focusing on the sister. I loved her. I thought she was funny. I thought she had skill and power. Obviously, she's a trained assassin. Do you think she'll become an Avenger? I really want to know your thoughts. All right. I gotta go. I'll see you guys soon.